Exclamation everybody, and welcome to another channel update. This one for a monthly channel update. This one for April 2018. Welcome to all the new people to the channel. Welcome back to all the old veterans. For those new here, just to explain this, I usually take one video per month and just kind of peel back the curtain and talk about behind the scenes stuff with the channel, and basically just ramble on for however long I kind of feel like rambling on for. You know, put a little human face here and there from time to time. Also, it gives me an opportunity to play some games that I otherwise necessarily wouldn't put on the channel or am planning on putting on the channel. In this case, I am testing out something that the game that you're seeing over there, because reversal, just over my shoulder is Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, and this is a game that I have wanted to play on the channel for ages, but it has resisted every attempt up to date of me actually doing that. It's every time I've tried to, even on my new computer, when I try to run a recording software while the game is running, no dice. In fact, when the game exits, it often blue screens the entire computer too, so that's even more fun times there. However, with my current setup, I have discovered that I can in fact now record the game and get a solid 60 frames per second out, well, a solid frame rate out of it, which is not something that was easily done the other way around. It was usually like, as soon as you would start up the recording software, it would drop to like 20 frames a second or whatever. So now that I have a different computer recording it, things are a little bit nicer, a little bit smoother, so to speak. So that is the game that is running in the background, and let's go over a few of the channel statistics, and then I'll jump into some of the topics that I have here on my notepad. First of all, the total channel views, we went from 134,128 total views to 135,719 for this month, across the month. And went from 444 subscribers to 449, so making some progress there. We actually hit 450 for the briefest of moments, and it was awesome when it was there for that short period. And as far as minutes watched, we were at 7,626 minutes watched last month. We're down to 6,003 for this month. Again, that's still half of what it used to be. I don't know what's going on there. It does seem like, though, YouTube's algorithm is at least stabilized a little bit as far as our channel is concerned, because it did, you know, usually in the beginning of the year, everything drops off. And this year was no different, except that it lasted a lot longer this year. And now just recently it seems to actually be, you know, recommending my videos again and those kinds of things. So very, very strange stuff going on there. I'm going to talk at length about some of the YouTube goings on in a little bit, but suffice to say, that's where we're at there. We had 2,420 videos last month. This month we're up to 2,461. I think I said 2420 last time. 2,461 videos, not including this one. And so that's really on point. That's 40 videos is about normal for what I do. So we're getting close to the 2,500 videos. Probably, most likely we'll cross that in May going into June, probably. It depends, because I have a lot of stuff recorded right now. And over on Mixer, we went from 25 followers to 26, so that's still there. I'm going to talk a little bit about Mixer too, and caffeine and stuff, because it's weird stuff going on over there as well. And as far as Caffeine is concerned, which is the other streaming service I stream to, went from 46 followers to 63. So jumping a lot over there. I think that's more due to the nature of the platform than anything else. And honestly, as impressive as that number is, most of that is just dead subs because there's mostly people who just follow and never show up. I think that's mostly due to the platform, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And as far as amount of time streaming, from the last period, it was 25 hours I had streamed. This time around, from 3:24 till 4:21, 22. It was 39 hours. So I have ramped up the streaming again. There have been a few days where I've taken off, mostly during the week. I've been streaming a lot on the weekends because I've been trying to get through Ni no Kuni 2, and I guess we'll talk about that right now. Been streaming a whole lot of that. I've been purposely leaving that to the weekend, and I actually streamed a bunch on Friday because I was off, just for a mental health day, basically. And it was I streamed about 6 hours on Friday, which was quite the undertaking. And then Saturday, yesterday for me, I wanted to stream for another 5 hours. Various things happened that I needed to take care of. First of all, my Wi-Fi router just decided, yeah, I'm gonna die right now. So it did. So I needed to go take care of that, and then I lost power for about an hour. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll just get a couple hours in. So I got about 3 hours in, I think, more of that. So making lots of progress with that. I am cutting out large swaths of it as we go in here. I've got the next couple of videos. I think I got the next week's worth of videos edited, rendered actually. Some of them are going to be about an hour long. As with most RPGs, I'm struggling to figure out exactly how much to leave in and how much to take out, because obviously I'm big on story and I love the story of stuff. That's why I love RPGs as much as I do. But part of the experience is the combat, and especially in an action RPG like Ni no Kuni 2, it's the combat is still a thing. So I've been kind of trying to keep some of the combat in and cut large swaths of it out, because it is a JRPG at heart, which means you're going to have lots and 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 lots of grinding to undertake. So I'm trying to cut as much of the grinding out as I can while still keeping some of the substance in there. A couple of the episodes you'll see this week have very little combat in them. And very little exploration. It's mostly just getting through the story. And again, I'm trying to keep a balance between the two. But it's a lot of that was just, I don't need to bog you down with so much of the cut and dry stuff that the stream has. That said, I did render out the second stream of it. I have it uploaded, I think, but I haven't actually made it public on the Memory League Doom channel. But I was wondering, I do have two channels. The Memory League Doom one is just live streaming stuff. I'm starting to put things back up there again. It used to be I was just streaming there when I was doing YouTube gaming. I don't bother with YouTube gaming anymore because it's got all the same problems that YouTube proper has. But it's I am experimenting with actually putting my streams up there, the VODs up there. You might wonder, well, why bother? And the answer that I can give to you that is, when I record them locally, because when I upload them to YouTube, I'm not actually uploading the ones that were recorded by Mixer. I'm actually uploading the ones I record locally. And when I record them locally, they're far better quality than what you'll see on Mixer, because obviously Mixer is just going to record whatever I send out, which is usually 720p 60 at like 2800 bit rate. I'm going to try to tweak that a little bit and try to make it a little bit more bit rate, because now I have 2 NIC cards in my computer. It seems to be handling things a lot nicer. But it's I figured since YouTube is good with the whole, give us the highest quality thing you can and we'll deal with it, I thought, it might be interesting if I just save the VODs, with the overlay that you're seeing right now on your screen and my slightly lovely face, I suppose. To some, I guess. And it's just put that up there. It'll be just like a VOD, except it'll be much higher quality. It'll be 1080p 60. It'll be, I usually upload like, was it 30 million bits or whatever it is, 30 megabits, 30,000 megabits, 30 million megabits, whatever it was. I have it cranked up pretty high. I know YouTube goes and chops it out pretty good, but I give it as much quality as I can, so that when it goes and chops it down, it'll be it's got more data to work with. So I thought maybe that would be an interesting way of getting sort of having your cake and eating it too, basically. So that I'm a little bit behind on. I have them rendered out. I mean, those are the full, like 5-6 hour VODs. So those actually take about 10 hours to render, 11 hours to render. So I basically have the one computer, my old computer, just pegged for the whole time I was doing it. So those are going to come out a lot slower than what they ought to be otherwise. And just because I'm using both computers now when I stream, and so I have to be tactical about when I bog one of them down. So that's where we stand with that. And Ni no Kuni 2, I've been trying to keep to some sort of consistent schedule. I'm not guaranteeing that I have a schedule, but what I'm trying to do, or at least with everything anyway, but what I'm trying to do is at least try to be somewhat consistent from 1 week at a time. So Ni no Kuni 2 right now, I've been trying to target Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for episodes on that. I should have enough for the last 2 weeks. That's the way it's been, and I should have enough for this week as well. And then we'll do that until I either run out of footage, which not quite so easy. I got about 26 hours of footage, so we're still not quite there yet. But it's I'm gonna try to keep to that schedule. And that's 2:30. That's the afternoon slot, 2:30 Eastern time. Beyond that, side quest videos, I've been trying to do at least 4 a week. Sometimes 5. It really depends on how many I can get through, because I literally only record those, for the most part, I only record those on Sunday nights, which I'll actually be recording those right after I finish this. But sometimes that does run into Monday or Tuesday. I've been taking like a night off of streaming, like a Monday or a Tuesday off, depending on what I feel like. Usually it's a Monday night that I take off from streaming, because it's just, it's the start of the week and I'm usually really tired. It depends on how I feel when I come home, because obviously I'm streaming this after I've had a long day at work and all that stuff. So I think last week I actually took 2 or 3 days off, because I was just tired as hell when I came home. So I'm trying to keep that up to a relatively stable schedule there, as much as I can. I mean, I don't want to schedule I don't want to say that I'm going to stream every single day, because obviously there's going to be days where I need to just take off and just relax at nighttime. Because the thing is, it's a weird thing that the streaming takes more out of me than recording. So there are nights when I'm like, you know what, I'm a little too tired to stream right now, but I can record maybe 2 videos. Because I can just kind of time box and say, I'm going to record this one for an hour, and then I'm going to record this one for a half an hour or an hour, and then boom, I'm done. It's just a weird thing right now. A lot of that has to do with just being tired. I hate to start streaming when I'm legitimately tired, because I do have a tendency to fall asleep while doing. If I'm playing a game and I'm at a very boring spot, I do have a tendency to doze off. And in fact, I caught myself. It's not like a long doze off. It's more like one of those what do they call them, micro sleep, where you kind of like you doze off for like a second or two, and then you catch yourself and you wake up again. When you see the Ni no Kuni footage, if you look at it, if you actually watch it, there are a few points when I actually do kind of doze a little bit. It's not more than like a second or two, but you can see it, especially when I'm not wearing my glasses. You'll see a little head nod here or there, usually early on, and those I'm playing in the middle of the day too, which is crazy pants. That I'd be tired like that, but it happens sometimes. And actually, the one stream, I think the one on Friday, maybe about 2 hours into it, I actually, not only did I doze for like a second, but I also suddenly started saying words that made no sense. It's just like one of the if you've watched some of my back when I was doing Cube Ramblings, I did a lot of those Cube Rambling videos at like midnight or so, and there are a few times, and you don't see my face in those obviously, but there were a few times when I would say a sentence and you would listen back to it and you go, what was that? And that was my half asleep brain cooking up something. And then even I catch myself at the end of it like, what the hell did I just say? So I tend to play it off like it's nothing, but it does happen. So I just wanted to, if you're an astute watcher, an astute listener, you'll catch that from time to time. It's not me just being weird. It's me being like, kind of in a almost like a zombie dream state sort of thing for a brief moment or two. It doesn't last very long, but it's long enough that weird words come out. I'm not talking tongues or different things. It's more like just, did you ever grasp the English language kind of thing? Just random adjectives. It's almost like a sleeping. What would that be? I'm trying to think of what kind of, like, what would cause you to say random words. I mean, that's kinda Tourette's, but not, because that's not necessarily how that manifests itself. I mean, that's the running joke, but that's not necessarily how that manifests itself. So maybe it's kind of a thing like that. It's mostly, I mean, that's mostly like you make random sounds, not necessarily words. In my case, it's like full-blown words, but they don't make any sense in the context of the sentence. So, I don't know. Some weird form of narcolepsy. Who knows? Who knows what that is? But anyway, continuing with Ni no Kuni 2, for the foreseeable future, I will be finishing that up. It says how long the beat says it takes about 35 hours. I'm 26 hours in. That sounds about right. I'm not going to try to 100% it or anything like that, but I do have a lot of the side quests done. I probably will do all the dimensional doors, but I may not do them all on camera. I'm not sure. I'm not sure with that. I'll probably do them all on camera, but you may not see all of them if you're just watching it on the YouTube series, because I'll probably cut a bunch of them out, because once you've done one of them, they're all pretty much, they all follow the same pattern, really. So that said, the next RPG that I'll probably be doing after that is what you're seeing on your screen right now, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. This one's going to be interesting. I don't know how well it will come out as far as the recording is concerned. I definitely can live stream it, but I don't know. The way I usually record things for the YouTubes is I have a second instance of OBS running with a different thing that doesn't have my overlay or my web cam. The words are not coming to me today. And then I put that up on the YouTubes so that you don't have to see all the, weird, you don't have to see my face and stuff like that. That way it looks consistent compared to all my other videos. I'll have to test it to see if I could do the same thing here or not. I don't know. That may be one of those things where I just have to record it with the overlay, because I was noticing, in fact, I'm noticing it now as I'm recording this. I looked over. My CPU is on the old computer, and I'm recording this on my old computer. Is pegged at about, it's saying like 55 to 56% in the OBS overlay. So if I were to run a second one, I'm not sure how well that's going to work out. So I will definitely probably record Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. It may end up being with my overlay and stuff, because I may not be able to get a second OBS to work with it, because I'll be streaming it both to Mixer and to Caffeine, and that alone, even doing that, is a bit taxing, because it's two different programs that have to run. Because that's just how they have it. And it's we'll see. So that may break from the usual, and you may see my overlay and stuff. It's the best I can do. Like I said, I haven't been able to get the game where I can actually record it on the same computer like I normally do, without it's taking a frame rate hitch or, a blue screen or something like that. So this is the world we live in right now. Is basically what I'm getting at there. So that's the thing. And of course, I could stream it without my webcam and without my overlay. The thing is, and this is an interesting thing. For the longest time, I didn't have an overlay. I just had my webcam, and then I would just move it around so it wouldn't block the UI elements. And I thought, you know what? Rather than having to move it all the time, let me just put myself down in the corner, and I will shrink the video down, but still maintain a 16:9 frame. So I went and looked up all the 16:9 resolutions and all that stuff, and so it doesn't look blurry or anything. And then I just thought, well, let me just put my Twitter and my YouTube down on there and just keep that on screen that way. Interestingly enough, since I've started doing that, I've started to see a lot more follows on Twitter. So I think that's actually positive. I think that might be a good thing that I've started doing that. So, who knew? Who knew, right? A lot of people just don't watch it. Look at the end slate where you have it in there. It's just like, yeah, here it is on your live stream. Here it is on your thumbnails that go out and all that stuff. So, those are things. And what else am I thinking of here? So, as far as other games are concerned, Realms of Magic, I will still be doing streams of that from time to time, and I will be getting some more videos up. I haven't put a video up of that for a little while because I haven't really made. I did put episode 4 up, but I haven't made a whole lot of progress on things. This is the thing that always gets me with the building games, the sandbox games, is that I'm never quite sure when I've made enough progress to actually do an episode. If it were up to me, I would just record everything and just chop it up and put it up there. And I see a lot of YouTubers that I follow, Good and to a lesser extent, Zisto, they have a tendency to just put, well, no, Zisto not really. Zisto does the whole, here's the progress that I've made mostly. Good is the one that does most of the, like, I'm just gonna just chat and put stuff up there. And it works for both of them. Like, both of them seem to have success with their differing ways of doing it. Back when I was doing the Minecraft stuff, I tried the first way. I tried the good way, if you will. And I got a lot of feedback that people didn't like it. So I switched to trying to do sort of the Zisto way, which is, here's a project and here's where I've made some progress. And also, Vintage Beef does the same thing too. He did, like, here's a project I've done, here's some progress. Although Vintage Beef seems to jump back and forth between both. Like, he'll have one where he's just like, here's the progress I made, and then he'll have another one where he's like, just kind of like, here's some stuff I did, and let me just chat a little bit. And he doesn't seem to have any problems jumping back and forth between them. I had a lot of problems jumping back and forth between them. It's a weird mental shift, I guess. I never know when I've got something interesting. And so when it comes to like sandbox games, when I did Starbound, I chopped that up mercilessly. Like, I just made that be just, here's progress I made, here's some more progress I made, here's some more progress I made, and done. I think that was only like, how many episodes? I think, I don't have my thing's not on the right thing here. I have the YouTube in front of me, but my KVM switch is on the other computer right now, so I can't switch over without making noise. The damn USB connect noise and disconnect noise. But it's, I think I only had like 20 episodes of that, if even that. I think it was even less than that. I think it was like 12 to 15 episodes I think I had of Starbound, because I literally just said, I'm only going to do story stuff, and I'm only going to, show progress. And that was fine, but it was like wildly inconsistent as to when I could get videos out, because I took a long time to get to those parts. And with Realms of Magic, I'm still going down the path of, I want to try to just do videos where I make progress. But there's a lot of exploration you can do in that game too, so it's a difficult one. I'm trying to do some building with the game. I'd like to do some building episodes where I just build things. I have the 2D sandbox building problem, which is, I know what I want to build, I don't know how to make it look like what I want it to look like. For instance, I've been trying to build, and you don't see it yet, but I do have an episode coming up soon of it. I'm trying to build a wizard's tower, and as we all know, most of the time wizard's towers, in fantasy settings, are like circular buildings. The thing that I'm running into is, how do I give it like a three-dimensional look when it's on a two-dimensional screen? Like, it's just basically a slice through the middle. And I've tried to do it with like different types of blocks in the background and stuff, and it's not quite working. It's like a stone tower, and I've got like certain stone blocks on the one side, and I've got like the different stone blocks in the back, and then even differenter ones even next to that, and it's like, it's not quite working. It's kind of working. Kind of looks like there's two circles in the middle instead of just one, but I'm going to be kind of playing around with that a bit and looking for some feedback on how to actually do that, because I don't have the eye for it. I've never had the eye for building, but sometimes I manage to strike it good. You know, the house that I built on the Livecraft Mine server back in the day, before we lost it all. It was in a wipe. That one was probably the pinnacle of buildings I've ever done in Minecraft. Like I had looked at pictures online of houses, like farmhouses, and I just kind of did it a little bit at a time, like piece by piece. And I wasn't happy with how the roof turned out. The roof was terrible. But the basic building itself was actually coming out really, really nice. It was very frustrating when that hard drive crashed on that server and we lost everything with no backups. But you know, I mean, that que sera, that's what happens. You know, it's nothing. You can't get angry over that kind of thing. That just happens. I was actually reminiscing about the Livecraft Mine days the other day. I was thinking, you know, I'm coming up on, I think I have to look again. I think it was 2018 now? I think this is 4 years, maybe 5. I'm not quite sure if I'm near my, I know in June, or is it July? In July will be the anniversary of my channel. I don't remember if it's 4 years or 5 years. I think it's 4. I don't think I'm quite at the 5-year mark yet, but I have to go look because I don't remember if it was 2013 I started or 2014. It may be that I'm getting close to 5 years on YouTube, and I was just thinking back to some of the things that I did early on, and I kind of miss the camaraderie of the Livecraft Mine server. As much as I really didn't know what the heck I was doing, and it did bring out a lot of the insecurities that I have when it comes to you're on a multiplayer server and you just don't feel comfortable talking to other people. It's not that they were great people. It's just I always felt awkward. You know, my social quotient has never been very, very high as it is. But I always felt kind of weird and awkward. But that said, it was a lot of fun, and it was very interesting to chat with the guys on there. Unfortunately, time zones are always a problem. A lot of the people that were on there were, you know, across the pond, and so I'd come in hot, you know, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and you know, every so often I'd run across them because they'd be up late, you know, real late doing stuff. But it was, our paths didn't cross quite that much, which was unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the beast. You know, time zones have and always will suck. But
Another survivor.
I was just thinking about some of that stuff, and I remember talking to Toast about, I was on the server. I wasn't recording or anything. I was just on the server, just looking around at stuff, and Toast came on, and I think he was streaming with somebody else, and I forget the many years since then. I forget who he was streaming with. And I remember talking to him while he was on stream, and he was like, you know, why don't you do streaming? Why don't you do this and that? And I was like, it's not really my thing. And it highlights the problems I had with streaming. I still have with streaming, though I've kind of accepted my fate as far as that's concerned. I guess we'll get into the whole YouTube thing. This kind of ties into that. Recently, there's been a lot of news around YouTube, and several big YouTubers have come out and said, yeah, I've decided that I can't really make. I'm thinking of like Phil DeFranco and stuff here, where like, yeah, I can't really make a living on YouTube anymore, so I am going to be looking for other alternatives. And it struck a nerve because that's been a recurring theme for most YouTubers, because they're like, you know what, this algorithm sucks. Our videos are not getting out to where they're supposed to get out to. Even if people are subscribed to you, they're not seeing your new videos, all those things. And then of course there's monetization stuff, the demonetization bot, and all these things, all these results of the adpocalypse that came down, of the various incarnations of the adpocalypse. And what it has done is it has, you know, for me, it hasn't largely touched my channel. I mean, obviously I can look at the minutes watched and go, yeah, it's half of what it used to be. But it hasn't really, since I don't monetize anything, it hasn't really affected me. This is not my career. This is just my hobby. So I can kind of sort of, I'm not weathering a storm per se. I'm just like, I'll just do what I gotta do, right? Where it pains me is that I have more of a even keel, an even standing on YouTube than I do on any streaming platform. By that I mean, even though the algorithm is kind of screwy and not always reliable, when it's stable, it at least gives you the ability to compete with the full-time YouTubers. You may not necessarily win out with the full-time YouTubers, but you can at least compete. You're on an even footing. When Mixer announced that they were making it so that you can set up your channel, that it will play, when you're offline, your channel will play the last VOD that was recorded, which I have set on mine. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a really good idea. But it's not enough. And I went on to they have like a suggestions forum. And being a programmer myself, I'm like, well, let me go search first before I add another. Like, don't add a new ticket until you've searched to see if the ticket already exists, right? So I did. I went and searched for the idea that I had. And someone had already thought about it, kind of. They didn't quite word it the way that I would have, or justify it the way that I would have. But it was the same concept, and that was, why not make the VODs searchable? And, you know, why not, if you're promoting things, you know, these services are only promoting live things. They're not promoting VODs. Yet you can search by game. And it's like, why not, since you have the search by game there, why not say, hey, we'll also give you, why not have two sections? Have a section for live, and anybody who's currently live, put them up there, and have a section for VODs, right? So that when someone's looking for a particular game, they can click on the game and they can say, oh, nobody's playing the game right now, but, or maybe someone is playing the game right now, but there's also these other people who have played it, and maybe I'll go look at them. And this way, I don't have the pressure of jumping into a brand new stream where nobody else is on there and being worried that, you know, I'm going to be assaulted as soon as I walk in there. That's why I put the lurkers welcome on my stuff, because I'm like, I'm not going to call you out as soon as you jump into my stream and try to talk to you. I'm just going to let you chill. And if you want to talk to me, you can. But a lot of streamers don't do that. A lot of them just, they jump on. As soon as you jump in there, they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? What's going on? You're like, they're your freaking best buddy. And you're like, whoa, hang on there. Back it down a little bit. And it makes you not want to jump into streams where there's not multiple, you know, there's not more than 5 or 10 people in it. So I thought, well, you know, the best of both worlds of that was, well, show the VODs. That way, again, on the theme of, you know, time zones suck. If there's someone in England, you know, since I seem to be relatively popular over there, maybe it's my crazy, stupid accent, my barely legible mush mouth. you know, maybe someone over there is looking for a particular game that I've played, and nobody's really streaming it right now, because everybody's asleep or in my case at work or whatever, and they come across a VOD. They see someone they kind of like from the VOD. They think they have a decent personality, and now they can go and say, oh, maybe I'll follow this person and figure out when they're going to be live, and maybe we'll actually cross paths for a change. Maybe they just go live at a time that I'm not normally online, or maybe they're or something like that. You would think that would make a whole lot of sense. You would think that these streaming sites who live and breathe and eat, promoting their content creators. You know what I mean? They're like, every content creator that's on your site is a potential money maker if you give them a little bit of support, right? And Mixer's gone out of their way to be like, oh, here's some up and comings over here and all this stuff. They're not partnered yet, but they could be if you get to watch them. Maybe you'll like them, right? But
what a shame.
Why not? At some point, even though they're not making you any money now, they might make you money in the future if you just kind of, give them a little love and support. Well, for some reason, this was suggested, and it had a dev response, and the dev was like, we're not in the business of doing that. We're not in the business of promoting VODs. We're promoting live streams. And I'm thinking to myself, that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, you're in the business of getting people partnered, but you're in the business of getting eyeballs on your site. And if those eyeballs then result in someone getting partnered, now you're making money, right? So why wouldn't you promote VODs? Like, does no one understand that time zones exist? Does no one understand that this is a thing? Like, this is why YouTube was so successful, right? At the time that YouTube became successful, a lot of people were looking at Netflix and all that stuff and going, well, this is the way of the future. No longer do I have to plan my life around something. I can just have the entire season at my hand, and I can go watch it whenever I need to watch it. And YouTube exploded because it was the same concept. Now suddenly we're back to, no, I got to plan my life around when this person's going to go live in order to catch them and all that stuff, right? Which is just a weird bounce back, but it's the way it is. I'm thinking to myself, why not both? Why couldn't you have both? Because as much as I like to say, oh, well, everybody and their grandmother now is uploading their full VODs to YouTube, and YouTube does, is viable in that regard, there's not really, the views just aren't there. People seem to, a lot of the popular channels, I'm not sure why this is, but this seems to be the case. A lot of the popular channels, the majority of their videos are like 18 minutes, on average. And so when you start dumping VODs out there, even though YouTube loves long videos and loves to promote long videos, most people aren't going to watch them. Unless they actively follow you already and they know they're going to get some good stuff out of it. Or maybe they caught your stream, the tail end of your stream, and they want to see how it started. And they would rather watch it on YouTube than on the streaming site for whatever reason. VODs are usually hard to find anyway. So it just seems weird. It seems like there's a weird disconnect there. It seems like the people running Mixer and some of these other sites don't actually know what they're doing. They don't actually understand the people who are there watching stuff. And the big problem with Mixer right now is it's starting to have the same problem that Hitbox had when I was streaming on Hitbox, where there's just one or two games that absolutely dominate and nobody is going there for anything else. In the case now, it's usually Fortnite and PUBG. When you go on Mixer, you look at the top 3 or 4,
You're real,
you know,
right?
games,
I
that's
swear I
the bulk
haven't
of
had
people
that
watching.
much.
You don't see anybody spreading out amongst the other smaller games usually.
Fate's will is always hard to see. It's
That was, you know,
hard to
Hitbox,
make
was
out,
for
but
Hitbox it was
undeniably there.
League of Legends. People were just there for League of Legends and they didn't care about anything else going on. Of course, it was harder to find the games that you wanted to see there anyway. But you know, for Mixer to now have a similar problem, and I think some of that is not due to their PC platform. I think people who are watching it on computer are spreading out more because there's a lot more to see. I think it's mostly because on the Xbox console, there's such limited space that they're playing favorites over there. They're saying like, oh, you were just playing PUBG, so here's all the PUBG streams, you know, or you were just playing this and here's all these streams. And they're not really doing a good job of showing that there's, you know, other things besides Fortnite out there. And they try, like they have the Hype Zone stuff, which is, yeah, weird. I see where they're going with that, and I relatively approve of it. But I've always been one that doesn't like raids, and this is like company sponsored raids, which is kind of weird. Like it would be better if you could just opt out of it. Like if I could just go into my settings and go, no Hype Zone for me, please. You know, because that's one of the reasons why, like, I like Fortnite, but I won't stream it anymore. I streamed it like once or twice before it really got big, and now I'm like, nope, nope, not streaming it. Because it's just, it feels like I'd be lying to people, right? Because I'm a variety streamer, which means that I stream something different pretty much every single day. It'll be a cycle. I'll come back to something else at some point, but you know, every single day I'm usually doing something different. And you know, people who are tuning in for PUBG or for Fortnite are tuning in only for that. They only want that, nothing else. And so I'm kind of lying. If I play it once, I'm kind of lying to them and being like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally playing Fortnite. And then from that point on, you know, I might not play it again for 2 weeks, you know? So it's one of those things where, yeah, rating, not really my thing, not really my bag of chips. Because it does bring in a lot of people on a false premise. It brings them in on the premise that you're going to do one thing, or you know, it brings in people who don't understand that you're a variety streamer and that you need variety in your life, that kind of thing. So that's weird. It also tends to dump a lot. It also jacks up your stress level, right? Because it dumps a bunch of people on you that you weren't expecting. Like you're just there, like, I'm just going to have a little chill stream. I'm going to do this and do that, you know, nothing big. And then suddenly like a wave of, you know, 25 people come in and you're like, ugh, this, now I got to be like, now I got to bounce off the walls and I got to be, you know, I can't be chill anymore and all that stuff, you know. So, not really a fan of that. But the other side of that coin is caffeine. Caffeine is weird. It's really weird. They were trying to make a social network, and I think they've pivoted to being a video streaming site. Which, I mean, VCs will be all over that, so that's probably why they pivoted. That, I believe they have like something like $40 million or something like that. And they're promising that they're going to have some sort of monetization coming, and it's going to be different than anything else. Which there's only so many ways you can skin that cat, so who knows what they mean by that. I suspect if I look at the games that they actually officially support in their app, they're mostly small indie games. Well, there's a few large games. They do support Fortnite and stuff like that, but there's the most of their catalog are indie games, indie titles that didn't really get too much love and attention. So my guess is that they're going to only support games that they've officially partnered with or something like that. And then that's how money will change hands or something. You know, they'll be your agent, so to speak, as far as, you know, we'll pay for streams and pay for this stream, or we'll pay for this, you know, we'll pay for a couple hours of this or a couple hours of that. I suspect that that's what they're going to do. And all I can say is good luck with that. I don't think that's going to work the way you think it's going to work. But, you you know, it's not a terrible idea. It's just not a very informed idea. But then again, there's a lot of things about caffeine that's not very informed. I feel like these guys really didn't look at their competition to see what they needed to do in order to be a streaming site. Some of them are, I believe they're ex-Apple employees, a bunch of them. So you can see that sort of Apple mentality dripping through everything. Like, you know, people are dumb, so don't give them any options, which is bad because your app takes a bunch of CPU away, and it likes to flood NIC cards, as I found out by putting a different NIC card in and having OBS stream to that one, and then find out that, oh yeah, no, my network is just fine. It's just, you know, caffeine likes to take all of your network and just it likes to flood your network with packets. Just, you know, just roll with it. And you can't change that. There's no settings to change it with, because, you know, that's makes total sense. But it's there's things like that I see. I like that they sort of they have a section of their Discord where you can kind of, you know, advertise your stream and stuff like that. So they're doing some things good. They just need to really dog food a little bit and also do some research about your competition and find out what they're doing. And you don't have to be different for different sake. You know, like there's some things you can actually snag from your competitors. You know, like, hey, how about having a chat that has like timestamps in it? And how about your website chat actually is organized by those timestamps instead of having things randomly pop up all over the place? And oh yeah, you know, iPhones, there's this other thing called Android, and it's got like 87% market share, so it would be really nice if you had an Android app and not just an iPhone app, you know, those kinds of things. But you know, they're pre-release, so they're still figuring things out, I'm sure. But that's what's weird over there is the way they do the follows and stuff, or the way you do it on social networking and Twitter. It's just like a follow button. They suggest people for you. There's no VODs that I'm aware of, so you really don't know what you're getting into. And most of the people that are over there are doing some sort of streaming. There's very few non-streaming people there, which means that even though I've got 63 followers, I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably 99% of those are other streamers, which is not good. And I say that not in a negative, not saying that having other streamers watch you is a bad thing. I'm saying that from the perspective of, if you really want to have, you know, people watching you on a consistent basis, if most of your subscribers are, or most of your followers are streamers, you're gonna have a problem with that, right? Because they got to do their own streams at some point. You know, you know, they may watch you from time to time, they may chime in from time to time, and that's great, but they're not going to be there every day. They're not going to be there every week. You know, they might be there once a month, if even that. You know what I mean? It's not, they're busy. They're busy people. So until they can figure out how to actually appeal to, you know, people who don't want to stream, who just want to watch streams, they're going to have a real big problem. You know, they're not going to be able to, you know, they might want to roll out the whole monetization thing, but if you can't get people to watch your stream, then what are you monetizing? Are they just going to charge a flat fee to these companies and say, you know, regardless of how many views there are on the stream, this is how much you pay? Because they're going to have a lot of problems with that. I'm just saying, reality, those kinds of things. I suspect there won't be too many. There will be devs. There will be plenty of devs who jump on board that, but there'll be devs of games that, well, are not very good, or are not very fun to watch. So yeah, you're gonna have some problems there, but you know, they'll figure that out. They'll find that out the hard way, most likely. I would say. But yeah, it's weird. And the other big problem with a lot of the YouTubers, the big YouTubers, like starting to have difficulties with the YouTube platform, is that a lot of them are starting to just use YouTube as a dumping ground. They're just dumping their VODs out there, and they're basically moving over and just streaming. And that's a twofold problem. One is, obviously they're full-timers, so they can stream whenever the hell they want. And that makes it really hard for someone like me to even compete, because I don't have that. I have to work during the day. So I can only stream at a certain time of night, which automatically puts me at a disadvantage because, you know, these other guys can stream pretty much at random. Which is why it's not really an equal footing, the streaming platform, as opposed to, say, YouTube, where I can just schedule something for prime times and it's, you know, still have an equal opportunity of being seen. The other thing is that they're pulling eyeballs, at least in gaming anyway, pulling eyeballs away from YouTube, which means there's less eyeballs to actually be on there. There's a lot of people who just said, all right, well, I'm not going to watch anything on YouTube anymore. I'm just going to go over and just watch Twitch all night or whatever, because you pretty much can at this point. And that means, and again, you couple that with I can only stream at certain points of the day. I can't just do it whenever I gotta work and all that stuff. It makes it that much harder for the small fries to actually be seen. And then you've got, you know, the cherry on top of that is, yeah, no, it's not our business to promote VODs. That just makes everything that much sweeter. There's my heavy dose of sarcasm for this. But I think we should probably wrap this up very shortly here, because I'm getting to the end of the recording here. So thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.